Yamunatira Vanaja Yamunatira Vanaja Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Devin Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayam Mudreye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Makam Karoti Vachana Pangam Langayate Girim Yatkrupat Maham Shri Guru Tirataram Paramananda Madhavam. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, Sloka number 12. Bhadrashvam Ketumalam Cha Bharatam Chottaran Kurum Kim Purushadini Varshani Vijitya Jagre Balim. Word meaning translation and prepared by His Divine Grace. Aisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhadrasham Bhadrasha Ketumalam Ketumala Cha also Bharatam Bharata Cha and Uttaram, the northern countries, Kurin, the kingdom of the Kuru dynasty, Kimpurusha Adini, a country beyond the northern side of the Himalayas, Varshani, parts of the earth, planet, Vijitya, conquering Jagre, exacted, Balim strength. Translation. Maharaj Parikshit then conquered all parts of the earthly planet, Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, the northern Kuru, Kimpurusha, etc., and exacted tributes from their respective rulers. Purport. Bhadrashva, it is a tract of land near Meru Parvata, and it extends from Gandhamadana Parvata to the saltwater ocean. There is a description of this Varsha in the Mahabharata Bhishma Parva 7.14 to 18. The description was narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Maharaja Yudhishthira also conquered this Varsha, and thus the province was included within the jurisdiction of his empire. Maharaj Parikshit was formerly declared to be the emperor of all lands ruled by his grandfather. But still, he had to establish his supremacy while he was out of his capital to exact tribute from such states. Ketumala, this earthly planet, is divided into 7 dvipas by 7 oceans, and the central dvipa called Jambu Dvipa is divided into 9 varshas or parts by 8 huge mountains. Bharatavarsha is one of the above mentioned 9 varshas, and Ketumala is also described as one of the above varshas. It is said that in Ketumala Varsha, women are the most beautiful. This Varsha was conquered by Arjuna also. A description of this part of the world is available in the Mahabharata Sabha 28.6. It is said that this part of the world is situated on the western side of the Meru Parvata, and inhabitants of this province used to live up to 10,000 years. Bhishma Parva 6.31. Human beings living in this part of the globe are of golden color, and the women resemble the angels of heaven. The inhabitants are free from all kinds of diseases and grief. Bharatavarsha, this part of the world, is also one of the 9 varshas of the Jambudvipa. A description of the Bharatavarsha is given in the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva chapters 9 and 10. In the center of Jambudvipa, Ilavartavarsha, and south of Ilavartavarsha is Harivarsha. The description of these varshas is given in the Mahabharata Sabha Parva 28.7 and 8 as follows. Nagaram cha varam chaiva nadischa Vimalodaka, Purusham Devakalpam cha Narischa Priyadarshana, Adrishtapurvam Shubhagan, Sadadascha Dhananjaya, Sadanicha Shubhrani, Naris cha Apsharasham Nibaha. It is mentioned here that the women in both these varshas are beautiful, and some of them are equal to the Apsaras or heavenly women. Uttarakuru, according to Vedic geography, the northernmost portion of Jambudvipa is called Uttarakuru Varsha. It is surrounded by the saltwater ocean from three sides and divided by Shungavan mountain from the Hiranyavarsha. Kimpursha it is stated that to be situated north of the Great Himalaya mountain, which is 80,000 miles in length and height and which covered 16,000 miles in width. These parts of the world were also conquered by Arjuna, Sabha 28.1 and 2. The Kimpurushas are descendants of the daughter of Daksha. When Maharaj Yudhishthir performed a heart sacrifice yajna, the inhabitants of these countries were also present to take part in the festival and they paid tributes to the emperor. This part of the world is also called the Kimpurusha Varsha or sometimes the Himalayan provinces, Himavati. It is said that Sukadeva Goswami was born in these Himalayan provinces and that he came to Bharatavarsha after crossing the Himalayan countries. In other words, Maharaj Parikshit conquered all the world. He conquered all the continents, adjoining all the seas and oceans in all directions, namely the eastern, western, northern, and southern parts of the world. ॐ तत्सत्त्वमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीतपथकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता च विशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी शुभांसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्च कल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पापनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So yesterday we heard in the Bhagavatam class that the grandson of Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj, has conquered almost all the world. Now, in particular, he had been to these places where he had conquered other parts of Bharatavarsha also. So we will discuss a few minutes here. Then I have a short video that takes you to the Himalayan mountain Bharatavarsha Jambudvipa and how till today also this part of the land is available, but it is very difficult for the human being to inhabit there. Okay, we move forward. So already Yudhishthir Maharaj, Arjuna, they had already conquered these places, and mm, these places are also parts of the world, and only one king used to rule the whole world, and whereas all other subordinate kings used to pay the tax and they should report to the one king. So this type of conquering is really auspicious, and because Srila Prabhupada in his lecture he says that it is not like conquering of the other countries like Napoleon Bonaparte he goes, or also Hitler goes and conquer, and also Alexander he is conquering and he wants to establish his kingdom there, his power, his rule, and that does not work. Now you see, there's nobody, the Hitler, Napoleon, and Alexander, they are no more, and also there is no trace of their descendants also. But it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and His devotees He establishes, and He make them rule the whole world. So in this way, this is also a representation of Sanatana Dharma. So, as it will be evident from the character of Maharaj Parikshit, the idea was to keep the whole world Krishna consciousness. So, it is not just conquering so many countries, but wherever he goes there, he make the subordinate kings Krishna consciousness. He make them chant the holy name of the Lord. He make them all the citizens of that particular land to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In this way, this is we can also see it is a Nagar Sankirtan also, and also making so many people Krishna consciousness. So Krishna killed so many demons. Sometime back there was one Paundraka, even during Krishna's time in the Dwapara Yuga, he declared himself as a god. And yeah, I am Narayana. And he used to have, that kind of exhibition. But Krishna went and killed them. So we should be very careful with this kind of people. They pose themselves as God, but they are not God actually. Hare Krishna. The co-host kindly manage the mutes and mutes. Okay, so the aim was all other fights in Mahabharata or Ramayana was meant for chastising the godless people. Actually, now and then this kind of godlessness is more prominent. At that time, the Supreme Lord comes and he will chastise and convert all the people into Krishna consciousness. Just like Ramchandra chastised Ravana and he went to Lanka. Uh, that time it was called, we call Ceylon. Now, Lord also made a bridge and still it is available. It is evident that the Krishna consciousness was present. So, for these kind of people, Lord has to come down and he has to punish all of them and make them God consciousness. So, Krishna does not occupy any land because Krishna is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. All the planets, he is the owner, and including our bodies, Krishna is the owner. But the Lord comes to this earthly planet, and for unqualified and degraded people, he will remove them. For example, he came and he killed and he removed Ravanasur and he replaced Vibhishan, and also he killed Hiranyakashipu and he replaced Prahlad Maharaj, and he killed Vali and he replaced it with Sugriva. He killed Jarasandha and he replaced his son Sahadeva. And also he made all the Pandavas kill Duryodhana and all the Kauravas party, and he replaced it with Yudhishthir Maharaj. And he killed Kamsa also, and he replaced it Ugrasena. In this way, Krishna does not want to occupy any land because he is the owner of the whole cosmos. He does not fight for a small piece of land. And in turn, he allows his own children to enjoy the different planets according to their will and wish. So, if king does not properly rule the uh, kingdom into Varnashrama Dharma, what happens? This Varnashrama breaks into Varnashankara. Varnashankara means unwanted progeny, actually. In technically, if you talk about Varnashankara population, means a population who cannot say who is his father. This is Varnashankara. That's why um, the pious king is supposed to rule all other kingdoms and see that everywhere the Varnashrama Dharma is properly followed and the Lord name is chanted and the Lord is worshipped everywhere. So, but when you think about this present government, it is advocating that you drink, you eat meat, and also you do prostitution and you do gambling also, but give me tax. This is the present day government mentality. So then it is finished. All the people business is finished then. So Parikshit Maharaj was not like that. Parikshit Maharaj was conquered all these places to serve Krishna, to teach Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he conquered other parts of the Jambudvipa, all Ketumala, all these places. Previously, his grandfather also, Yudhishthir Maharaj, conquered all these places. But what is the need for Parikshit Maharaj to go to these places and again conquer them means Parikshit Maharaj is having a overview of all these places, just like a school inspector goes to various schools and see that teachers are properly, teaching, students are properly learning or not. So he has to inspect, he has to visit, he should have a review. So Parikshit Maharaj did it this way. So this earthly planet is of seven dvipas actually, seven islands. These two Americans and Americas, North America, South America, they are islands actually. Africa is one island, and combined Asia and Europe is another island. The two poles, two islands, Australia, another island. So that's why in Sanskrit it is called Saptadvipa. So they say they discovered America, but this discovery was long, long, many, many millions of years. It was not. No, so where is the question of discovery? There is the question by Srila Prabhupada. It's not that Columbus discovered America or Newton discovered, law of gravitation. That does not mean that there is no law of gravitation before his invention. Long, long back, Brahma, with the permission of Krishna, he has created this earthly, these material planets. And it is not that we go and discuss. Nobody can go to the different places unless he is authorized or qualified. So discovery, this is actually is a poor fund of knowledge because they have no knowledge about the Vedic literature. They think now I discovered I am very great. It's like a child born. He thinks the child born just now he is thinking I have discovered the whole world. Mhm. This is what foolishness. Before that child birth, there was a world also. There were people also. So we should not misunderstand. This kind of knowledge called poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, knowledge must be taken from the Vedas, Vedic literature. Veda means knowledge. And that full knowledge, when it is properly utilized, then you can understand Krishna. In 15:15, Krishna says that Vedeshcha Charvayar Aham Eva Vedya Vedantikrat Vedavit Eva Chaham. So, if you know Krishna consciousness, you know everything. Vedic knowledge is so perfect that this Bharatavarsha, 7 islands. So now the 7 islands still they are existing. One can go and they can explore. You cannot make 8 or 9 or 6 islands, something like 7 islands means 7 islands are existing. Columbus discovered. Why Columbus discovered? Prabhupada in his lecture he says that uh, when did it was discovered? He said 500 years. 500 years. Shankaracharya has described about the 7 islands 1,500 years ago. So Prabhupada says why credit should go to Columbus? It should go to Shankaracharya because 1,500 years back he has uh, explained it. He also did not discover, he explained it about the Jambu Deepa, Bharatavarsha, etc. Okay, we'll move forward. I have a few more minutes I will try to speak, then I will play the video. So, taking into this consideration various lands, the 7 islands, where are they located? It is clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the fifth canto, also it is explained. So, the point to understand is when we go to the various places also, and we need not bewilder, and we should understand the place and circumstances, and wherever we go we should preach Krishna consciousness. Yare dako tare kaha Krishna upadesh. This way Srila Prabhupada also taught everybody in Krishna consciousness, and his disciples including our Guru Maharaj, they also traveling all over the world, and they are playing very important role in Krishna consciousness, and they are explaining each and every person how beautiful the Krishna consciousness is. This is Sanatana Dharma. And Himalayan province, if you take into account, it is a vast area, and nobody can able to understand fully unless otherwise is qualified. Okay, I will play this video, so kindly pay your attention. And this video is talking about Bharatavarsha, Jambudvipa, all this. Okay, give me a fraction of a moment.
गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये.
One day, while studying the Mahabharata, a 5,000-year-old epic of ancient India, he came across some intriguing verses. In the 5th chapter of Jambu Kanda, Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, it is said,
Sudarshanam pravakshami dvipastu guru nandana parimandalo maharaja dvipoyam chakra samstita yato hi purusha pashyet darshanam mukhamatmana evam sudarshana dvipo drishyate chandramandale dviramshe pipalastatra dviramshe cha saso mahan sarvaushadhi samavayes sarvata parivarita.
This Bharat Khanda is called Sudarshana Dvip, since it looks beautiful to the eyes of the onlookers. Being circular, it looks like the disk of the Lord, and it is attached to cyclic time in the form of a disk presided over by Lord Sudarshana. Bharat Khanda is in the form of a globe, since all of its 4 corners are rounded like the bale fruit. When viewed from the moon, half of Bharat Khanda appears like the rabbit and a small peepal leaf, while the other half appears in the form of a big peepal leaf, with all of them surrounded by varieties of vegetation. Pondering the verses, he became perplexed. What on earth can a rabbit and peepal leaves have to do with geography or cosmography? As he sought to understand their meaning, he contemplated, meditated, and prayed. North America, South America, and Australia. These continents comprise our Earth, which the Mahabharata calls Bharat Khanda. Vishnu Purana also describes the Earth as Bharat Khanda and gives its diameter as 8,000 miles. The Earth is also referred to by the name Bharat Khanda in the invocation Sankalpa mantra chanted by Brahmana priests since time immemorial up until the present day.
Jambudvipe Bharatavarshe Bharatakande Meroho
Vedic cosmology gives descriptions of the entire cosmos, including its subtle features. Perception and access to these subtle features, however, requires karmic qualification. Consequently, much of the cosmos described earlier, as well as parts of the cosmography about to be described, are imperceptible and inaccessible to us earthly inhabitants. Bharat Khanda is one of the 9 islands of the larger and originally bow-shaped Bharat Varsha, which was divided by the sons of Sagara. Being completely surrounded by water, the islands are mutually unreachable. In the Vedas, Bharat Khanda, our Earth, is also referred to by other names such as Sudarshan Dvip, Kumarika Dvip, and Navadvip, etc.
आप आंधे हो, क्यों बाहर निकलते हो? आपके माँ बाप ने क्यों बाहर निकाला? क्या करेंगे आप निकल के? आपको खुद घर में
Varsha, the famous mountains known as the Himalayas are tall and immovable. Here we find an abode of Lord Shiva, the greatest of the demigods. In the center of Jambu Dvip stands the most extraordinary divine golden mountain called Meru. Meru is shaped like an inverted cone, and it is the sporting place for the demigods. Around Meru are many supporting mountains called Kesara. Jambudvipa is 0.8 million miles in diameter and is surrounded by the saltwater ocean of the same width. On top of Mount Meru is a resort of Brahma called Manavati. The famous celestial river Ganges descends to the center of Manavati and then flows out into 4 directions. Surrounding Manavati in the 8 directions are the resort cities of the chief demigods. One of these cities is Amaravati, the resort of Indra, king of heaven. King Indra lives here in majestic opulence, attended to by musicians, dancers, and reciters.
This is what you call as Brahmasudana, the place of the palace.
Knowledge of Meru and the cosmography of the greater earth has been preserved and taught carefully by learned scholars in the preceptorial line known as the Madhva Sampradaya. The greater earthly planetary system extends out to the edges of the universe and has a diameter of 4 billion miles. Known as Bhumandala, shaped like a lotus flower, it has 7 concentric islands and oceans with Mount Meru as its pericarp. The 7 oceans respectively contain salt water, sugarcane juice, liquor, clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking water. Sometimes Vedic cosmology is misconstrued as portraying the earth to be a flat disk. This flat earth misconception arises partly due to our inability to understand Vedic nomenclature. A single object may be referred to by several names, and a single name may refer to several objects. For example, the term Earth may be used to describe at least 6 different aspects of cosmology. The Earth we live on is indeed a globe as explained by the Sanskrit word parimandale, meaning spherical, used in the Mahabharata text. The flat disk refers to the greater earthly planetary system of Bhumandala. 4 elephants of inestimable size are placed at the 4 directions for balancing the greater Earth. Below the earthly planetary system are 7 subterranean realms named Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala, which do not receive sunlight and which are inhabited primarily by demoniac living entities. To reach the first one must go 80,000 miles downward through underground tunnels. At successive depths of 80,000 miles are the remaining 6 netherworlds, all of which are fully developed underground civilizations. In the 4th level downward, Talatala Loka, lives the magical architect Mayadanava, who has designed many brilliantly decorated cities where proud materialists reside. Below the netherworlds are the 28 hellish planetary systems. The demigod of justice, Yamaraj, judges the unrighteous human beings after their deaths and sends them to one of these planets. There, errant souls are administered appropriate punitive measures corresponding to their misdeeds.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
The earthly and subterranean planetary systems rest upon one of the hoods of the gigantic divine serpent, Shesha. Shesha in turn is held up by the colossal transcendental tortoise, Kurma. and Kurma resides in the ocean that fills half the universe.
We had the great stalwarts in Kerala like Madhava, who gave infinite series formulae for sine, cosine, pi, nearly 2 centuries before Newton was born to teach calculus to the world.
Albert Einstein also recognized the contribution of Vedic mathematics to science.
We owe a lot to the Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile discovery could have been made.
Vedic cosmological knowledge is revealed in 2 primary texts, namely the Puranas and the Jyotisha. Among the Jyotisha texts, the Surya Siddhanta is prominent and gives precise mathematical formulae for calculating planetary motions. The Surya Siddhanta contains extraordinary astronomical calculations which predate modern science itself. However, many contemporary scholars have been unable to understand Puranic cosmology. Nevertheless, detailed studies of both texts show that their foundational astronomical principles are identical. For instance, both calculate atomic time as the time it takes for the sun to pass over an atom. Similarly, both texts calculate the frequency of planetary revolutions in terms of their retrograde motion with respect to the zodiac. Furthermore, the apparent contradictions between the 2 texts are resolved by using the formula for converting the actual distances recorded in the Puranas into angular velocity stated in the Jyotisha. This Surya Siddhanta, originally spoken ages ago by Surya, the sun god, was translated and commented upon in the 20th century by the brilliant astronomer named Bimala Prasad Siddhanta Saraswati.
Vedic thought should be preserved. If you are not able to interpret, someone will interpret at a later stage. After a millennium, let someone come and interpret. We have to preserve that. The Vedic thought, Vedic knowledge has to flow from generation to generation.
I feel that there should be a planetarium strictly according to Vedic cosmology, and once the planetarium is constructed, probably at least we'll give a chance to those people to comment upon it and to discard it or to accept it, etc.
Vedic.
So that planetarium is coming up now, the International Planetarium. There's a temple of TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. Once it opens, people will come to know what is their position in this earthly planet.
Planetarium apparently appears to be different from the ideas of the modern scientists.
We can perceive things better.
Albert Brush Ford, the great-grandson of automobile magnate Henry Ford, speaks about how he became involved with the Vedic Planetarium.
I was in Detroit in 1976. We had purchased the Madhusudana Cultural Center and had spent a year getting it fixed up, and Prabhupada came for a visit. And so it was his first visit there, and he was entertaining some guests up in his room at the Cultural Center. And he was explaining to them about the...
Okay, Hare Krishna. Rangarashimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.